After Evan Thornton's empire collapsed overnight, I saw the perfect opportunity. I was going to keep him. My lifelong enemy, the once proud, untouchable business legend, now reduced to a struggling nobody. It was beautiful. Every day, I teased him, touched him, claimed him. He turned red with rage but endured it all, face burning with humiliation. 10 grand per night, I said one afternoon, casually flipping through my phone. Deal? Evan glared at me like he wanted to tear me apart. But the corners of his mouth twitched into a strange smile. It wasn't until one day, when my own family teetered on the edge of bankruptcy, that I decided to let him go. I'm sorry, I said, swallowing the lump in my throat. My family's going broke. I can't keep you anymore. Evan clutched my leg like a child, sobbing pitifully. You're abandoning me? I felt a pang of guilt. He looked so pitiful, tears glistening in his lashes. But still, I had no choice. I'm sorry. That's when he exploded. FCK it. Then I'll keep you. I blinked. What? Rewind to how it all started. Evan Thornton, once a titan of the business world, feared and admired by all, lost everything in a single night. Bankrupt, crushed under mountains of debt. Those who once feared him now lined up to stomp him into the dirt. Hey, young Master Thornton, one thug jeered, tossing a dirty boot at him. Lick my shoe. I'll give you $100. With that pathetic little bar you own now? You couldn't pay off your debts in 10 lifetimes. Evan stood silently in the rain, drenched and trembling like a stray cat, neither proud nor broken, just heartbreaking. Pathetic and beautiful all at once. I walked straight into the bar, slammed a wad of cash on the counter, and grabbed him by the collar. He looked at me blankly. You came to watch me make a fool of myself too? He asked flatly. I tilted my head, smirking. What? You think I came to your wedding? His face darkened instantly. Without waiting for a reply, I pulled out another thick stack of cash and threw it at him. Come with me. 10 grand a day. Evan's brows knitted together. What did you say? I said. I crossed my arms and lifted my chin. I'm buying you. 10 grand a day. No room for pride when you're drowning in debt. Evan. He clenched his fists so tightly his fingers shook. God. It was satisfying. I threw another wad of bills at him. The red notes fluttered down like snow. Pick it up, I said sweetly, or I'll find someone else. Evan stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, silently, he knelt down and began picking up the money. Shame burned in his eyes. His voice was rough, low. Chloe Monroe, is this how you usually help people? I smacked his chest with a loud slap. The private life of a sponsor is none of your concern. His face turned the color of a thundercloud. Evan hated me. Well, to be fair, Evan hated everyone equally, but I disliked him for a far more specific reason. Because I hadn't gotten to taste him yet. Seriously, that man looked like he had been handcrafted in a gaming studio. Perfect jawline, broad shoulders, sculpted abs. I used to think he was out of my league, a feast I could only drool over from afar. Who knew fate would serve him to me on a silver platter? He must have been truly desperate. Because once he signed himself over, he obeyed everything I said like a trained golden retriever. Even when I pinned him down fresh out of the shower, he only turned his face away in silent rage, refusing to meet my eyes. I grabbed his jaw, forcing him to look at me. Evan Thornton, I said lazily, you're my canary now. You know what a canary's job is. Don't you? His eyes turned red from frustration. After a long pause, he answered hoarsely, I know. I shoved him back against the couch, grinning. Good. Now kiss me. I pointed to the spot on my collarbone. Right here. At first, Evan just stared, his entire face flaming red. His lips trembled. He looked like he was about to curse me outright then and there. Don't want to? I teased. I pretended to get up. I guess I'll just take my money and find someone more cooperative. Before I could rise, a warm hand grabbed my ankle. Evan's voice rasped. Don't. I'll do it. Money really was a magical thing. He knelt by my side, his whole body tense and trembling. Leaning in, he pressed a feather-light kiss to my collarbone. Then, slowly, he moved lower, One hand cupped my leg. His fingertips quivered uncontrollably. Wait. Was he actually experienced at this? Was I being tricked? I tensed, instinctively grabbing a handful of his hair to yank him back. He looked up at me, blinking innocently. Something wrong? I struggled to keep my voice steady. That's enough for today. I couldn't take it anymore. A ghost of a smirk curled Evan's lips. All right. I leaned back on the couch, watching Evan Thornton sulk in silence. The once mighty king of the business world now glared at me like a wronged housewife. Adorable. I kicked my legs up casually. You're wearing too much, I said lazily. Strip. Evan froze. He glanced down at himself. He was only wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, hardly overdressed. You heard me, I said, arching an eyebrow. Take it off. You're my canary now. You gotta look the part. His expression darkened instantly. The veins on his neck bulged slightly. If looks could kill, I would have been a corpse 10 times over. But alas, money is mightier than murder. Evan clenched his jaw so hard it could probably cut glass. Then, with trembling hands, he yanked his shirt over his head and threw it aside. I let out a low whistle. Damn, the man's body was insane. Lean but powerful toned muscles. Defined lines. Every inch screaming expensive gym membership and personal trainer. Under my blatant stare, Evan's face flushed crimson. Happy now? He growled. Not yet. I smirked. I beckoned him closer with one finger. Evan stood rooted to the spot, glaring at me like a cat being ordered into a bathtub. I shrugged dramatically. No problem. If you're not interested, I'll just take my money back. I started gathering the stack of bills on the table. Instantly, Evan's hand shot out. Wait. His voice was rough, almost pleading. I bit back a grin. Slowly, grudgingly, he approached. When he stood right in front of me, shirtless and scowling, I poked his chest with one finger. Firm, warm, perfect. I trailed my fingers lightly down his abs. He flinched like I'd electrocuted him. I cooed. So obedient. Evan looked like he wanted to die. His fists clenched at his sides. Every muscle in his body was taut with humiliation. I tilted my head, pretending to be thoughtful. Maybe I should give you a reward? He immediately stepped back, alarmed. I burst out laughing. Later that night, Evan was cleaning the living room while wearing a tiny apron I had gifted him. The apron said, "Property of Chloe Monroe," in big bold letters across the front. He looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. My best friend, Luna Yu, came over to visit and nearly fainted on the spot. She dragged me into the hallway, hissing, "Are you serious? You've got Evan Thornton, the Evan Thornton, doing housework in an apron?" I shrugged. He's broke. What do you expect? Luna gawked at me like I'd grown a second head. But still, even bankrupt, Evan Thornton isn't the kind of man you can just toy with. I waved her concerns away. If he really had a way out, he wouldn't be scrubbing my floors. Would he? Feeling smug, I called out loudly, "Evan, come here." Evan paused in the middle of vacuuming, looking like he wanted to murder someone. But obediently, he wiped his hands and walked over. I smirked. "Tell Luna what you are." Evan's jaw tightened. I crossed my arms. "Come on, we had a deal." His face twisted in agony. Finally, he ground out, "I'm your kept canary." Luna looked like she was about to have a heart attack. I beamed with pride. After Luna left, word spread like wildfire through our social circles. Everyone was freaking out. "Chloe, are you insane? You bagged Evan Thornton? Is he really bankrupt? I thought he was indestructible, girl. Take care of yourself. That man is powerful in every way." Winking face. Reading the group chat, I couldn't stop giggling. Especially the last comment. Apparently, rumors about Evan's abilities had circulated even before his fall from grace. Curious, I peeked into the bathroom. There he was, scrubbing my laundry, wearing only a pair of gray athletic shorts. I swallowed hard. That color, that cut. Everything emphasized all the right places. Evan noticed my stare and turned, eyes narrowing. "What are you looking at?" I shrugged shamelessly. "I paid for it. I'll look if I want." He flushed scarlet. grabbing the nearest piece of clothing to cover himself. Unfortunately, it was my tiny underwear. I cackled. Serves him right. Not satisfied, I sauntered over and tapped his chest. Let me touch, too. He stiffened, horrified. I added sweetly, unless you want to refund my money? His whole body trembled with rage and humiliation. But in the end, he gritted his teeth and let me. Victory tasted so sweet. At this point, I'd basically tested every method of psychological warfare known to man on Evan Thornton. From verbal jabs to subtle humiliation, to making him vacuum in a property of Chloe apron, and still. He endured it all like a tragic Greek hero in gray athletic shorts. One afternoon, my best friend Luna Yu dropped by. And the moment she walked through the door, she froze. Because Evan, the Evan, was on his knees, scrubbing the floor with surgical focus, looking like a stay-at-home husband in a magazine ad gone wrong. Her jaw hit the floor. You've got Evan Thornton playing housemaid? She whispered, yanking me aside like we were about to plan a jailbreak. I shrugged, chewing on a grape. He's broke. What else can he do? Luna stared at me like I just said I adopted a tiger as a pet. But, he's Evan Thornton. Even bankrupt, he's the kind of man who could rebuild an empire with a stapler and a hostile takeover. I snorted. You didn't see the way people humiliated him last week. He stood there like a sad kitten in the rain while everyone kicked him when he was down. Trust me, if he had a way out, he'd be long gone. Luna looked unsure, but I was confident. This man was mine now. Feeling bold, I called across the room. Evan. He paused mid-scrub, his jaw tightening. Come here and tell Luna what you are. His eyes burned with silent rage, but he stood, walked over slowly, and in the flattest voice humanly possible, said, I'm her kept canary. Luna looked like her soul had left her body. I beamed proudly. See? He even says it out loud now. Total submission. Want to poke him? Quality guaranteed. Luna panicked and waved her hands wildly. Nope. I'm good. 100% good. After Luna left, I couldn't stop laughing. This was too much fun. And Evan? He endured it all like a war prisoner who'd accepted his fate. Even when I handed him a pile of laundry and casually said, Take that shirt off. I need to see the abs again. Morale booster. He glared at me, the flames of resistance flickering in his eyes. But then I raised an eyebrow and tapped the envelope of cash on the table. With the slowest, most reluctant movements known to man, he peeled off his shirt. And oh, what a sight. That body should be in a museum. His abs were tight but not overly chiseled. His skin smooth, glowing faintly under the kitchen light. As I stared shamelessly, Evan's face turned red, like tomato soup red. Chloe, he snapped, eyes wide with horror. I didn't even blink. Instead, I followed him into the bathroom under the pretense of needing to wash my hands. But in truth, I wanted a second helping of those visuals. He rinsed his hands at the sink, water splashing over his bare torso, trailing down the ridges of his stomach. The way those droplets clung to his skin should have been illegal. I leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. Evan, come here. He stiffened. What now? Let me touch it. He turned like I just asked to borrow his social security number. I rolled my eyes. I pay you. Looking isn't enough. I want to use what I paid for. He looked like he was about to combust. You're insane, he muttered. I stepped forward. What? You scared I'll find out you're all show and no substance? If you're defective, I want a refund. That did it. Evan clenched his jaw, exhaled like he was about to walk into battle, and slowly turned toward me. Fine, he said, deadpan. You want to verify the goods? Go ahead. Before I could react, he pulled his waistband down slightly and stepped forward, standing right in front of me. My brain short-circuited. Suddenly, bam bam bam, a loud knock on the front door saved my soul from eternal damnation. I jumped back like I'd been tasered. Coming, I yelled, sprinting to the door like it was Judgment Day. Standing outside was a girl in a designer coat, high heels, and perfectly curled hair. Selena Yee. Rumor had it she was pretty close to Evan back in his golden days. Is Evan here? She asked sharply. My heart skipped. Crap. She might actually take him back. He was barely dressed. I pointed behind me nervously. In there. She stormed past me and into the apartment. Evan had somehow thrown on a shirt just in time. But in his hands was a pair of my very pink, very tiny underwear. Selena's eyes locked onto it. Her face crumpled in horror. How could you let yourself end up like this? I scratched my head. Honestly, he volunteered to do laundry. She grabbed his arm. Let's go. I'll double whatever she's paying you. Just leave with me. I panicked. Selena Yee's family was wealthier than mine if we went into a bidding war. I was toast. I tiptoed over. Big puppy eyes activated. Just a second ago, I was the bold, predatory sponsor. Now I was the scared little girl begging her sugar baby not to leave. I was this close to sobbing. But Evan simply looked at her. Then at me. Then he said, calmly, no. Angels sang. Fireworks exploded in my heart. My canary had morals. Selena looked stunned. You're just letting her buy you like this? I'll pay double, triple. Evan shrugged. I accepted her money. I made a promise. I almost cried. Integrity, honor, chest muscles. I grabbed his arm and clung to him. You see? You're too late. He's loyal. Selena's eyes narrowed. You think your little pocket change can hold on to him forever? She tossed her platinum card on the table. $500K. My jaw dropped. Oh God. I scrambled to grab it before Evan did. No. There's no stealing in sugar baby business. I called dibs. Selena scoffed and pulled out her phone. Fine. $2 million. I nearly passed out. I looked at Evan, heart racing. $2 million could change my life. My allowance was $400 a month. This was 5 years of survival money. Evan noticed my silence. His gaze darkened. He smirked coldly. That's right. You only paid me for 3 days. He turned to Selena. Technically, my contract expires tomorrow. Then he looked back at me. Isn't that right, Chloe? The moment Evan said those words, technically, my contract expires tomorrow, the room turned ice cold. Selena Yee smiled triumphantly and slid the black card further across the table. Come on, Evan, she said sweetly. Leave with me. I'll pay you 10 times whatever she ever could. I opened my mouth to protest. But when I glanced at Evan, he was staring at me. Dead silent. Waiting to see if I'd fight for him. Or if I'd sell him off like a second-hand car. My heart pounded. $2 million. That was life-changing money. I could buy my dream car. Move out of my parents' house. Open my own business. I hesitated. It wasn't even that long, barely 2 seconds. But Evan saw it. He saw it all. His eyes darkened, like clouds blotting out the sun. Slowly, he straightened up. No need to fight, he said coldly. He looked at Selena first. Thanks for your generous offer, but I'm not some auction item to be passed around. Selena flushed bright red. Then Evan turned to me. And you, he said quietly, you never really saw me as a person. Did you? My chest tightened painfully. I tried to speak. But no words came out. Evan didn't wait. He walked to the door, grabbed his jacket, and threw one last glance over his shoulder. Thanks for everything, Chloe Monroe, he said, voice dripping with sarcasm. I'll repay the favor someday. Then he was gone. The door slammed shut, and the silence that followed was deafening. I stood there frozen, staring at the spot where he had disappeared. Selena picked up her credit card with a scoff. Well, that was dramatic. She adjusted her sunglasses and sauntered out without another word. For the next few hours, I wandered around my apartment like a ghost. Everything felt wrong. Too quiet. Too empty. The money on the table didn't look so shiny anymore. It looked sad. Lonely. Like me. That night, I tossed and turned in bed. I kept picturing Evan's face, the bitterness in his smile, the hurt in his eyes. Why did it bother me so much? Wasn't this just a business arrangement? I was the sponsor, he was the sponsored. Nothing personal, right? At 2 a.m., I gave up pretending to sleep. I got up, threw on a hoodie, and wandered into the kitchen. And there it was. The little pile of things Evan had left behind. His cheap toothbrush. The faded t-shirt he wore to sleep. A pair of beat-up sneakers by the door. Evidence that he had been here. That he had existed in my life. And now he was gone. Because I hesitated. Because, when it mattered most, I hadn't chosen him. The realization hit me like a truck. I didn't want Evan for the money. I didn't want him because he was beautiful. I wanted him because he was Evan. Because even when humiliated, even when forced to scrub floors, even when treated like an object, he never lost his pride. I buried my face in my hands. I was an idiot. A complete and utter idiot. The next morning, I got a message from Luna. Open black lens bracket girl. You need to see this. Now. Close black lens bracket. Attached was a video. In the video, Evan, wearing a delivery uniform, a helmet too big for his head, jeans ripped at the knees, stood outside a luxury villa neighborhood. A group of rich kids surrounded him, cheering. Wow, the mighty Evan Thornton reduced to this? Hey, how about you kneel and apologize for being late? Maybe we'll tip you $1. Someone even kicked over his delivery bag. Food spilled onto the pavement. Evan didn't fight back. He just stood there, silent, like a lone tree in a storm. I snapped. I grabbed my purse and bolted out the door. I arrived at the villa gates just in time to see Evan Thornton still standing there, delivery bag overturned. Food splattered on the pavement. Surrounded by jeering rich kids. My blood boiled. Without hesitation, I stormed forward and threw a wad of cash at their feet. Here's your precious delivery fee. I snapped. And here's a tip. Now get lost before you end up trending for bullying. The rich kids blinked, stunned. Most recognized me instantly. Daughter of a powerful family. Untouchable in our circles. They scurried away like rats fleeing a sinking ship. I turned to Evan. He was still standing there. Stiff as a statue. Holding his ruined helmet in one hand. I approached slowly. Tears pricked my eyes when I saw the scrape on his knee. Blood trickling down. You idiot, I whispered, brushing dirt from his cheek. Why didn't you fight back? He flinched under my touch. You care? He asked hoarsely. I froze. I ran here, didn't I? He looked at me, eyes dull. As your property? As you, I said, soft, honest. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he dropped the ruined helmet and stepped back. I'm not your toy, Chloe, he said, voice trembling. You hesitated. You thought about selling me. The truth hung heavy between us. I couldn't deny it. I had hesitated. I clenched my fists. I know, I said quietly. I was wrong. He turned away. I'll manage on my own. I don't need your pity. I panicked. No, it's not pity. I grabbed his hand. He tried to pull away. But I held on tight. It's not pity, I repeated. It's. My throat closed. My heart hammered. I took a deep breath. It's love, Evan. He froze. Like someone had slapped him. I pressed on. Desperate. I don't want to buy you anymore. I don't want to own you. I want you. Tears stung my eyes. I don't care if you're rich. Poor. Broken. Perfect. I just want you. For a moment, he didn't move. Then slowly, he turned back to me. His face was still guarded, still cautious. But in his eyes, a flicker of hope. Say it again, he whispered. I swallowed hard. I love you. Something shattered inside him. The cold mask he always wore cracked. He dropped the helmet, took 2 long strides toward me, and kissed me. Hard. Desperate. Real. The world blurred. The taste of salt, maybe my tears, maybe his, mixed between us. When we finally broke apart, he rested his forehead against mine. You, he said gruffly, are buying a lifetime subscription. I laughed wetly. Does it come with a loyalty program? He smirked against my lips. Unlimited services, no refunds. Later, after dragging him home and patching up his scrapes, we curled up on the couch. He wrapped his arms around me like he never planned to let go again. Neither did I. Because this time, there were no contracts, no sponsorships, no games. Just 2 people who chose each other. Freely. Completely. And somewhere deep inside me, I thought, maybe I was the canary all along. Because somehow, he was the one who kept me. Forever.